Hi everybody, this is Mike. Welcome back to Cacti, Mountains, Flora and Fauna. This is part 3 of my yard and garden video series. Where I'm standing now is the east side of my front yard along the wash with the big mesquite trees. The first thing I want to discuss is my wildflower garden. I planted it this year in February/March, and although it is growing lots, I don't see a lot of flowers or buds coming. I think the heat has gotten to it, even though it gets watered every day. I don't think a lot of this is gonna get to the bloom phase. We do have a couple of Mexican sunflower and lots of other plants here. As we continue, you'll see I've got 3 of these really weird looking plants. When I look at them, I think they're snakes. But the actual name of these plants is called gopher plant. This is about as full grown as they're going to get. They do get insignificant flowers in the springtime, but they're just the coolest looking plants. This plant is a southwest version or a desert version of the bird of paradise. This one is a red bird of paradise. Most people think of the bird of paradise that is tropical, that you see with the big yellow beaked shaped flowers. This is not that, but it will have beautiful red flowers on it, soft feathery like leaves. As we continue down the side yard, you will see this last plant, and this is a really beautiful looking plant as well. The main leaves are green and it gets highlighted with red. When we bought this plant, we thought it was a heavenly bamboo, but it turns out it's not. It's a red tip photinia. The only reason why we figured that out is because a bamboo is a fast growing, spreading plant. This plant has been in the ground 3 years and it's only grown a couple of inches. A red tip photinia is a much slower growing plant. Give you a nice look at the wash that our house is along. As we continue over here, this is the main front yard. The first plant we come to is a Texas Ranger. This plant comes in 2 main varieties, the dark green leaf and the silverish green leaf. We've had both these plants in our yard, but we prefer the dark green leaf. As you can see, it does bloom beautiful purple flowers. Can you imagine these covering the plant against the dark green foliage? Get some close-ups as well. By the time this is done, you won't be able to see the green leaves. All you see is purple flowers. The next plant comes with a lot of different names depending on who you speak to. But it can be called the Hesperalo, the red yucca, the hummingbird yucca, and many others. This has got beautiful flowers. It's a very popular plant here in Tucson. You can find it all over the streets and people's yards. Moving on to the cacti, there are basically 3 varieties of cacti in the world. There are paddle cactus, there are barrel cactus, and there are spherical cactus. First one you're looking at is a paddle cactus, just planted a couple months ago, and it's already got 5 new petals. That is a prickly pear. The next one is a golden barrel cactus. And it's got huge flowers. Be careful of this one. My son knows when he was about 7, he fell on this. And although he didn't necessarily hurt himself, he was bruised and battered for quite some time. The last one is a hedgehog cactus. This one's about 20 years old. It started with 1 plant and now it's about 10 or more. It does bloom. This one has pink flowers. We're going to head over here to the property line where you see 4 beautiful green bushes. Believe it or not, these bushes are another desert version or southwest version with yellow flowers called the bird of paradise. So this is the yellow bird of paradise. Beautiful yellow flowers. We'll get a close-up of these yellow flowers. This last plant is always the slowest to grow because it gets less sun. So if you look at this one versus the others, quite a big difference in growth and maturity. In case you saw it from the other one, these are yellow lantana. My neighbors planted this, and it goes really well next to the yellow bird of paradise. Remember how I was talking about the different types of lantana and verbena? This one again is growing more into a mound, thicker dark green branches, as opposed to that creamy white one in the backyard, which is a verbena. I wanted to mention the dry rock riverbed. Pretty much every yard has these. You can see my neighbors across the way. Although they're dry now, they do serve a purpose for drainage during the rainy season in the winter and the monsoons in the summer. Not only does the water flow on top of these rocks, but I also have underground drainage as well. Sorry about the car coming. I've got two smaller plants here. This one I just planted about a week ago. It's a salvia. It's going to have beautiful purple stalks on it. The little plant next to it is a bottle brush. It is supposed to be about twice the size it is now, and it's supposed to have red bottle-shaped flowers, which it's just starting to bloom on one of them. This big ground cover in the middle of the yard, which is starting to slow down, but was covered with these pink purple flowers. This is a Mexican ground cover. It comes in white, buttercup yellow, and this kind of purple. Although they call this a ground cover, it does grow 2 to 3 feet tall, as you can see. The story I like to tell is when I first planted this, the homeowners wrote me a letter when the plant was not in bloom, and they said you need to pull your weeds. Once I explained to them that it wasn't a weed, it was a plant, I didn't get a letter since. But again, this is the Mexican evening primrose flower, or ground cover. This plant over here is another lantana. Again, look at those dark, heavy, thick leaves, strong branches, and this is growing into a bush format automatically. I'm not training this to grow like this, it just is. So again, that is how you tell the difference between lantana and verbena. Over here we have a giant gardenia. This plant was given to me by my mother some 15 years ago. When we got it, it was only like a gallon in size. Since then, it just loves this area. It gets very, very filtered sun. It gets beautiful white flowers with a terrific scent. Small, small flowers. The gardenia plant. Look at this monster. People think it's a aloe. People think it's a cactus. But it's not. It's a blue agave. But we have to be careful with this one, man. The spikes on this one will hurt you if you get near it. We do cut the bottom branches so that animals and critters don't nest and burrow in. Okay, everybody. That actually ends part 3 of my home and garden tour. Again, sorry about the car. This channel is Cacti, Mountains, Flora, and Fauna. I'm back to where we started. I want to appreciate anybody and everybody who comes across this channel and watches it. Again, I am not out for fame and fortune on this. I'm not trying to make a living off of this. I'm just trying to show off my proud, beautiful yard here in the Southwest, Arizona, Sonoran Desert, Zone 9B. Appreciate your time and look forward to talking again on the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.